What's going on, guys? Finally back with a somewhat normal video today. We are working on the transfer case, pulling the transmission out with the Comanche, and I noticed that the transfer case had been seeping a little bit of fluid, not in between the gasket, which I've had issues with. I ended up taking the adapter off the back of the transmission instead of separating all this, because once you do this, you should probably do the paper gasket as well. But the adapter side just has a little O-ring, and I'll either reuse it or have another spare just in case. So the seeping was from the back side of it, the output. I already got it apart, but there's a bearing in here. This is a speed sensor, and this is a tail shaft housing. So the leak was right in this area, coming from the bottom. I could see it just seeping a little bit, and this was a used transfer case off Marketplace that I got. Didn't really know much about it. I think we moved down here, and I went probably 4 or 5 times out in the trails and noticed it was seeping. So while it's out, I decided to tear it apart because I really don't want to take this stuff back apart again. And you can see there's a bunch of fluid inside here. It's probably hard to see right now because I got a mess going on, but right now we're gonna clean this all up, reseal it, throw that back on, put some sealant on there, throw the tail shaft housing on, and then we should be in business for the transfer case side of it. Get this thing off of the workbench here, then I can start working more so on the transmission side. I am going to replace the starter. The starter's gunked up and it's kind of been struggling to turn over as time goes on. I might as well throw one in there while it's out. And then the exhaust side of it, I tried to explain in the last video, but that kind of got all messed up. So I have the 3-bolt flanges here. They never seal right. They're always leaking and they're a pain in the ass to get to. So I want to do V-bands. I'd like to end up chopping those off. Well, I probably won't use most of this stuff. I'll end up making 3-inch. This is 2.5. Kind of excited to run 3-inch on it and see what it sounds like. So I'll have to probably get 2 mufflers, put V-bands off the headers, and should be good to go. I do have the Novak headers and motor mounts. If you can see the headers in there, they're wrapped, but they're actually wrapped terribly right now. I had a transmission line blow last summer and ended up having a little fire down in here, so that's why my header wrap is looking a little rough. So I honestly wouldn't mind tearing the headers off while it's out and taking that header wrap off, cleaning the headers up a little bit. That header wrap's not really good for off-road purposes. I got talked into doing it when I was putting it together, and now it's kind of biting me in the ass and ruining my headers, which aren't cheap from Novak. If I was to do it again, I'd probably go with the Overkill system. The motor mounts and headers, I think they use the S10 conversion ones. Same difference. But anyways, that's where we're at right now. Got a little bit of work ahead of me. We're getting it done. Alright, got her put back together, all sealed up. It's pretty self-explanatory. Gotta take this cone off. There's 4 bolts. I believe they're 13s. And then I had these snap ring pliers laying around from when I did my Duramax transfer case. There's a snap ring in there, and then you'll be able to pull this cone off. They're 2 separate pieces. I believe this is the one that was leaking, and it was seeping from the bottom here. It almost looked like there was some sort of O-ring on there, and I was a little worried about using gasket sealer or black RTV instead of a proper O-ring, but I couldn't. It was super hard to tell. I ended up taking a couple of these chunks off, but there's like this one, the shape of it just made me feel like it was like a square cut O-ring or what. Something like that. Hopefully this works. Got it all sealed up, put back together. I'm going to attach the transfer case to the new transmission. Well, new to me transmission, which is down here. I already got the torque converter installed in the Jeep. So I'll get the transmission pulled out, probably about here. Throw the transfer case on it, because I want to try to avoid messing with that while it's under there and just put it all up at once. Be done with it, call it a day. I'll get that stuff put back together, get it all set up on the trans jack, and hopefully slap this thing together and get back out wheeling. I couldn't find a transmission whatsoever down here in Tennessee. Everyone wanted $600, $900 plus for one that was already blown up. And I'm just putting a 4L60 back into it. Anyways, I found one in Michigan from a guy that I actually got the transfer case adapter from when I did that video. He parts out trucks. He had one, 350 bucks. So I sent money to a friend that was coming down that following week. He picked it up for me, brought it down here, and that's where I got the transmission from. It worked out pretty well, but I'm not paying $600 plus for a blown up 4L60 down here. I could have got it rebuilt. I decided just to go with the $350 one. The guy drove the truck before he tore it apart and said it shifted good. He didn't have any issues. It's been a little cold down here in Tennessee. Got the old fire going, warming up, heating up the shop so we can throw the trans back in. Alright guys, it's actually the following morning from that last clip. I ended up getting the transmission put in with my buddy Kobe last night. And I'll show you guys. Right now I'm bolting up the cross member so I can get the jacks out from under it, but it's in there. I didn't film the process of actually getting it in because we were basically bench pressing it up into there and it was no fun. But right now I'm taking a little break, warming up my fingers. It's cold down here. I believe it's about 15 degrees this morning. Got a good fire going. This thing's almost red hot. But bolting up the cross member, and then I'll probably plug it in, plug all the sensors in, run my hoses. I'm gonna have to do something different about transmission lines because the way they were previously weren't very good. They would have rubbed. I ended up having one rub through and caused a little fire. I showed you guys that header. So I'm gonna have to do a couple different things just to prevent some future issues. But right now, this is where we're at. I gotta plug the harness in. Oh yeah, I gotta hook up the shifter cable. I'll get the cross member tightened down here in a minute. We should be pretty good. I'm gonna have to look at how I'm gonna route that exhaust. As you guys can see, now that the transmission's in, a little closer look at what I'm working with exhaust wise. There's just not a crazy amount of room down here, so I'm gonna try to get creative, figure something out. I'd really like to run some 3-inch exhaust on it because that would sound really nice. It's always been 2.5. Kind of nice to change things up once in a while. Quick little toolbox tour I want to show you guys. So in Michigan I was a truck upfitter. I installed service bodies, flatbeds, dump beds, PTOs, all that stuff. So I ended up buying a decent snap-on box up there. And down here, now I'm kind of doing something different. I'm a mobile mechanic working on school buses and Detroit diesels, Cummins, all that stuff. So I have a work van and now I won't need the toolbox. So I'm kind of in between putting putting tools from this box onto my service van, but I really don't want to take away from this box here at the house because I use it quite often. But I don't know, I might go to Harbor Freight and buy some stuff for my toolbox on the work van. I still have yet to decide that. This drawer is just a bunch of crap. Got some fab stuff there. Got some C-clamps and some old paperwork there. I still gotta clean some of this stuff out because I got like fuel fill stuff. We used to do all sorts of stuff. It was pretty much a fab shop and I was welding a lot. These are nice. You can get these from Harbor Freight for like, I think they're 110, 120 bucks. Like extended cutoff wheel. Super handy. Let's see what else I got in here. That's just a junk drawer. And I got, I actually need this, but I got my bigger impact in here. But yeah, just want to show you guys what I'm working with here at the shop now. My dad works in the shop here at the house and he custom fabricates smudge spots. That's been a big thing right now, especially because the weather's a little colder. He does metal art. He's got an Etsy page, he's got a Facebook page, all that stuff. I'll actually link it down in the description so you guys can check it out if you're interested. Definitely pick up a smudge spot. I'll come out here and show you guys what he makes. He makes it all by hand. It's super cool. He's got a plasma cutter and he does good work. He's in the process of working on trying to get a plasma table here, but this is what we're working with on the smudge spots. You'll get a flame, I don't know, about that high off the top of them, and they produce a lot of heat. This is the shut off to kill it when you're done using it. And then of course you got your fill ports right here. You can fill it up with diesel, kerosene, waste oil, all that. If you got plenty of oil to get rid of, definitely get one of these because you can just let it burn for hours. You can adjust the airflow by closing them a little bit or opening them all the way. I'm actually gonna run up to O'Reilly's here in a minute. This thing, it's been in it since I built this, and that's 4.5, 5 years ago now. It's a little slow cranking sometimes. I don't know honestly if it's the battery or the starter at this point. It's got a newer battery within, I think, a year and a half in it. So I'm gonna grab a new starter while I'm there, and then I'll bring this one back because while it's out, I'm just gonna throw a new one in it. I don't wanna have any issues going down the trails and shutting it off and then getting stuck in the woods. So grab a new starter, I'll throw that in. I did get the drive shaft put in, so I got the rear drive shaft in. Let me get some light down there for you. Got the drive shaft in. That's all good. I got the cross member bolted up. I got the transmission mount in. That's all bolted up. I gotta do my transmission lines next. I'm gonna route those differently. Maybe try to slowly bend them, those hard lines, a little bit, and just route them a little nicer away from the exhaust. Get that. I got a couple breathers I gotta do. Got that breather, and then I believe there's one more breather up there. Shift linkage, get that all hooked up, and while I'm there, I'm also gonna pick up some fluids. I'll just need transmission fluid. Probably need quite a bit because that converter, I believe, is pretty low. It was just draining out when I was gone for work that week. Go grab those things and then we'll be back to business putting this back together. All right, just got back from O'Reilly's. Picked me up a new starter. It's just one of the reman ones. It was like these things are 180 bucks almost now. But this one's got a lifetime warranty, so that'll be good. And then I picked up some more ATF because I'm gonna need quite a bit, which I actually just realized I should probably have gotten another gallon or two, because the transfer case also, I'll be putting this ATF in the transfer case. But anyways, I'll probably end up making another run back there at some point. It never ends. So I'm going to slap the starter up in the Jeep, and then that'll be all good, bolted back together. I think there's a like an inspection plate I gotta put back on there as well. Actually I already put that plate on there. So I'll slap the starter up there. That should take no time. And then I gotta get the transmission dipstick routed back through there. And if you guys have ever done a trans swap or honestly worked on vehicles in general, you can probably know that transmission dipsticks are not fun to get in there sometimes. We'll get her in there, and then let's see what's next. I'll probably order exhaust stuff. I am gonna go with the 3-inch. I just gotta figure out how I'm going to get that. I'll either chop that off and weld a V-band bung to it, or reuse like a little section of that and then weld from there 3-inch down. Something else. I'm not quite sure yet on that exhaust side. But I do know I'm gonna run each side separate down the sides because I don't want to have the Y pipe in there anymore. Previously, if you've seen my other videos, the Y pipe was sitting like right up against the transmission pan, and I always hated that, how it was super close. It was actually touching it, and I've had to beat the exhaust, bouncing up and down on the trans pan, making noise. So I'll be happy to get rid of the Y pipe setup because I never liked it. I do like this MagnaFlow muffler. I changed it not too long ago. I believe I changed it when I put the cam in the motor, and I like the way it sounds, so I'm gonna reuse this one. I'll have to buy another one for the other side because it'll be duals. That's exhaust stuff. After that, I'll be able to throw the front drive shaft in. I'm gonna leave it out for now, just to leave me a little more room to work on the exhaust, and I'll be taking it on and off and welding it up. After that, it should be pretty good to go. I'm pretty excited to get this thing back together, and honestly excited to get the 3-inch exhaust welded up and hear how that sounds. It should sound a lot different, a lot better. Then we can get back to wheeling. All right, guys, I'm about to a stopping point right now with the Jeep. I've got the transmission lines to do, I've got the exhaust to figure out, and then I've got to put the dipstick back in. But other than that, fill it back up, fill the transfer case full of some fluid, and then it should be ready to rock. Kind of at a standstill right now. I got to order the exhaust parts. I'll probably get like an eBay kit where they come with a couple 90s, 45s, a couple straights, and just build my own from there. Like I said, I'm not sure how I'm gonna route it just yet, but I'll figure that out once I get the kit and I can lay it all out. Figure out the best way. I wanna make it super convenient where I can pull it off quick, where I don't have to mess with that 3-bolt garbage, because that's not a very good setup for the long run. That's it with the Jeep right now. I'm gonna order some parts, and then once I get that, I'll do a little video on building the exhaust, welding that all up, putting that together, and then it should be good to go. We'll be back out on the trails and making some sweet videos. I appreciate you guys sticking around while we're doing some repair work on a little downtime, but trust me, there's plenty of videos coming out soon where we're gonna be wheeling and getting into some good trails soon. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for all the support. Really means a lot. Keeps me going on these videos. I like uploading them. Make sure you like and subscribe, and check out Pop's Metalworks. I'm gonna link it down in the description. See what he's got. Maybe pick you guys up a smudge pot. Keep you warm in these cold months that we got coming. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.